Hello, everyone. You are listening to the C Squared podcast with Corey and Curtis. Today, we are going to be talking about all things C Squared because there seems to be some confusion around who we are and what we do, despite the fact that it's kind of already been said, but we're going to say it again.
We are totally going to say it again. So first of all, Corey, can you kind of say what C Squared stands for? And then I'm going to go over a couple things.
Oh, this is a super cerebral name. I mean, a lot of thought went into this. My name starts with C. Curtis's name starts with C. There's two C's, so C.
That's pretty good, Corey. That's pretty good. Very, very well detailed explanation right there. So basically what's going on is Dewar PR is basically transformed into C Squared with Corey running it with me. Somehow she's Jezebel'd herself into being a co-runner of it.
Dance for me, puppets, dance.
Yeah. So she's now Geppetto, apparently. But no, in all seriousness, so what happened is with C Squared, so with Dewar PR, we've kind of expanded. So we've decided to basically change the name, and also Corey's part of it, Gaia's part of it, Holly's part of it, and
Aaliyah, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaliyah and Aaron are all part of it, and we have a future person going to be coming on too, whose name will not be named. It is actually not a woman, believe it or not. But
I was going to say something, but I won't say it. It's inappropriate.
So when did we start doing this? So this was back in March. We started offering consulting and management services, right?
Right.
Okay. So then at that point, we were still operating under Dewar PR, but it didn't really make any sense because we're not really doing PR stuff, really. I mean, we are, but
yeah, PR is part of what we do, but it's not the only thing that we do.
Exactly. So legally, in order to operate the business, I had to switch it over. Corey, like I said, is technically co-running it with me. The business is actually in my name, but I mean, technically she's co-running it with me. Your job?
Rules.
Your what?
I said, damn US Canadian rules.
Well, you could have put your name on it, but there was other reasons. But anyways, Corey is basically, what are we going to call you, the CEO?
I have no idea.
Okay. Corey's title is now CEO because I've just decided it's CEO. So I'm the owner, you're the CEO. So you get to make all the decisions now.
Oh, sweet. Okay, sweet. So we're going to have like Fast Food Friday, in which we can eat all the fries that we want.
We're on a diet.
So Fast Food Friday. Yeah, you said I can make all the decisions that I want. Everybody has to start wearing bunny pajamas on every pod that they do.
You own bunny pajamas?
You know what? Okay. So this is a dream of mine. I want an authentic replica of the bunny pajamas from A Christmas Story. Not a cheesy replica, but like a high quality replica of the bunny pajamas from A Christmas Story. So anybody listening, if you want to send me anything, that is the thing to send me.
So your Christmas gift is going to be not vinyl, not merch, but a pair of bunny pajamas that I am not
wear them on every podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna make Gaia send them to you because if I send them to you, that's just gonna be fucking weird and creepy. But
everything we do is weird and creepy, Curtis. That's like our company motto.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not sending bunny pajamas. I'll get Gaia to send the bunny pajamas. She can fucking do that. You guys can be bunny pajama twins or something like that.
Dude, she totally would. She would totally twin with me on bunny pajamas.
But Ollie probably would not.
I feel like she would not. No, well, we could get her black bunny pajamas instead of pink.
She might do that. So what were we talking about? We totally went off topic here. So we were talking about
I was able to make all the decisions, and this is what happens when you let me make all the decisions.
You know on a company organization chart, the owner comes above the CEO and they can still override them, right?
Hey, you said all the decisions. It's on tape.
This is true. It is. Okay, so Fast Food Friday. Corey's going to get super fat. All of us are going to get super fat. And all the gains we've made in the last 2 months from not eating healthy are going to just be wiped away in one day.
Exactly.
Okay, so anyways, Corey's the CEO, basically, of the company. Gaia and Holly are not owners or anything like that, and they're not really employees. What would we call them? They're contractors, but they're kind of like...
Collaborators?
Collaborators, sure. They both do PR, but Gaia also can build web shops for us. She's also going to be doing coaching for people on crowdfunding if people want it. Holly's going to be doing, what are you laughing about?
Nothing.
Uh-oh. Now I want to know.
I just saw the messages in one of our chats. So
that one. I think I know what you're talking about. Okay. Focus, because you're going to make me not focus. Come on.
Hey, I warned you. So for those of you listening right now, I had my second dose of the vaccine yesterday, so I am not 100% coherent. So that's why I'm totally off today.
And she's going to be more on the ball than most people. Probably. So where are we at?
Drink focuses me.
Okay. And she's also wearing an Akiaville shirt, I want to point out.
Woo! Akiaville!
Oh, yeah. I'm totally going off topic now, Corey. So
what C Squared does is we go off topic.
Thank you. So, okay. So we were talking about Holly and Gaia. Holly and Gaia. So basically they're collaborators with us. Gaia does web shops. She does PR. She also does some coaching on various different things. Holly basically is just doing PR right now, but she's also training up Aaliyah and Aaron at the same time. Aaliyah is trying to do a little bit of PR, as is Aaron as well. And we're going to try to make them do a few more other things as well in the future too. And we also have a compilation record coming out. Well, Bandcamp record coming out. That's going to feature, I think it's 10 clients. Going to be released on Bandcamp in September-ish, I believe. But I mean, basically the whole thing is that we've expanded. So what do you think is different than what we were doing before?
Well, like the sheer volume of services that we offer is completely different. It's not just PR anymore. And then also the fact that there's more than, when we do PR, there's more than one PR working the campaign at a time. So we're able to bring a lot better results because it's not one guy hustling. It's, three.
Well, yeah, that is a good thing to point out, because since we modified everything, now we're doing it where it's minimally me and Corey working it, or a third person. So basically anytime anybody signs up for something, you're now getting two people instead of just one. So before it was the tier 2 services were worked out that it was just one person running it, and now you got, which is pretty cool. The other thing too that we also include is that we also include stuff like bios. We include the press kits. What else do? We just have multiple ways of hustling. And so why did you agree to do this, Corey? Let's talk about this now. Why did you agree to do it? And then why did I agree to do it? I'll answer that question. But
did you give me a choice?
Yes.
Was there a choice in this? Because I feel like there was no choice in this.
There was a choice in this. There was a choice in this. There was a
do it, or I'm going to keep pestering you until you do it.
I never said that, and you know that. So no, I asked, and then you said yes.
Because why not?
Okay.
My whole point was I wanted to help bands. It's a lot easier to help bands with more hands involved. And it's a lot easier to push our clients where they want to go with more hands involved. And, we're all learning from each other because each of us has a completely different skill set. I mean, there's some crossover, obviously, but I mean, Gaia and I are the web people where you and Holly are not. And I mean, Aaliyah kicks ass on graphic design. I can do it too, but she's honestly better than me. So we can both, we all have our own set of skills that we bring to the table that we can use to help our clients rather than one person.
And Corey somehow apparently has the gift of charm that she isn't even aware that she apparently has.
I'm not charming.
I you were,
but me?
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying apparently you have the gift of charm. I don't know how you did it, but apparently you've got the gift of charm. And so does Gaia, actually. Gaia's also got the gift of charm.
She makes sense, though. She actually is a charming person. I'm a dork. There's no saving me in any way. I'm terrible.
So part of her charm is the self-deprecation, apparently. So just keep self-deprecating, and then all these opportunities will continue to fall into your lap. So what else? Where else are we going with this? Okay, so now in terms of how how we can help a band, do you think that by expanding the services, do you think that it's a better cost alternative in general, or do you want to kind of explain that a little bit?
Well, instead of paying a myriad of people to do your campaign, now you can have one group handling. Yep. So yeah, it is a cost savings for the bands. There's also the benefit of having everybody in communication with each other, where you have one person working on one thing, another person working on it. Like, yeah, we have multiple people working your band, but we're all talking to each other and we're all in constant communication. So that's also very helpful in ensuring that things are completed on time and on budget and in a satisfactory way for the bands.
Okay, and then, okay, so now I want to say something really quick here. So the other thing too is that because of the fact that it's just one group of people doing it, just to kind of expand on what you're saying, that also results in the fact that I think most things should get done quicker because, like you said, it's the communication factor. You don't have the myriad of different, however you say it, different people not in communication or anything like that. Plus, if you have everything done under one banner on top of that, it just makes things more efficient, I think, on the whole, as a general rule. So let's talk a little bit about what we do, like some of the services that we do. So obviously we do PR. So we kind of went over that. So we got either two publicists working it, or three publicists working it at a time, depending upon which layer of service you get. So it includes the press kit, it includes bio, includes the holic send out, includes out other press releases. We set up your premieres that you want to do at sites. We do pitching for you. What am I missing on the PR end of things? Okay. And you get someone regularly in communication with you is another thing too, because a lot of times people will just drop out of communication with you, which isn't good, and you want to have that. So let's go on to the next service. So we got consulting. Can you kind of go over the consulting a little bit, Corey, since I went over PR?
So with consulting, we take a deep dive into all of your socials, your Bandcamp, your website, assuming you have one, that kind of stuff. And we identify points of improvement, ways that you can gain more traction, strategies that you can employ, ways to get more sales, things of that nature. And it's usually twice a month that we have a call, and we go over everything, and we give you actionable steps that you can take for the next 2 weeks, and then we follow up on that next call, and then we give you more action steps that you can do the next 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it just keeps going.
Yeah, and we usually try to do this for a period of a few months, because if you just do it for 1 month, you're probably not going to get that great results, even though everyone we have worked with so far has gotten great results in the first month. But as a general rule, most people will probably need a little bit of time in order to get anywhere. So there was one thing. Oh, yes, you also get a PDF with the action steps, and you get the call as well. So our next service we should go over really quick, and I should probably kind of qualify this really quickly here. The management stuff that we do. So we don't take on everyone for management stuff. And the reason why is because most people don't really need it. At most bands that are at an independent stage do not need a manager as a general rule. They would need a consultant, or they would need a coach type thing. Can you go over the management stuff really quick about why the band wouldn't need one?
Well, most bands at the independent stage, or the smaller bands, what they need is to learn how to do these things for themselves. Rather than having somebody do it for them. They need to understand where their merch comes from, how to order it, how to orchestrate within the industry everything that needs to get done. And when you're small, that's not a lot of people that you're working with. That's not a lot of merch that you're organizing. That's not a lot of things that you're doing. So really, you should be doing those yourselves. And yeah, it sounds cool and it sounds fancy to say, oh, I have a manager doing that for me. But really, you're only hurting yourself, because later on down the road, when you do get bigger, you don't know how to identify what should be going on with your band versus what somebody might be doing with, like, there's a lot of unscrupulous people in the industry. And if you don't know how these things should be working, you can't tell if somebody is doing a good job or a bad job.
100%.
So at the small stage, you should be managing your own social media accounts. At the small stage, you should understand where your merch comes from and how to get it, how to order it, how to, set up print on demand, which I mean, we can set those things up for you as part of, you know, the services that we offer, but you should also know how they work and how to continually update them and keep them moving. Because like I said, if you don't know all of this stuff, it is very easy to leave yourself vulnerable to getting ripped off.
Agreed. So a band, that's usually when a band is asking about management, what they actually want is they want some sort of consulting, or they want something like that in order to be given the step.
Honestly, or they're lazy and they want somebody to do everything for them, which is not a good way to be. There's a lot of bands out there that, you know, they have 1,000 followers on Facebook and they want somebody managing all of their content for them and scheduling everything for them. And no, when you're that small, you should be doing it yourself, because you need to understand how all of this works.
I agree. Just as an aside, since you brought that up about scheduling content, I do want to point out we do not do any social media like that. The reason why is because it's too time consuming and it's too costly to do that. And the band should just be doing their own social media themselves.
It should be, yes. I mean, if they're a massive band, then yeah, you can get somebody to handle your social media for you.
Yeah.
But there's a certain stage that you need to hit before you do, because a social media manager, a solid social media manager, minimum is going to run you like $1,000 a month.
Yeah. And most bands aren't going to need to pay that. They just don't.
And when you're sitting there saying, oh, I only want to spend like $125, $150 a month and have somebody schedule my social media content, that's just not gonna, you're not gonna get anybody quality for that price. And you're probably not gonna get anybody at all for that price. And really, you should just be doing it yourself.
That's actually a good point, because there are some people that are offering like $150 or $100 a month to set up social mediums for like 30 days worth of posts. And it's not worth it. Okay, so next service that we got, web shops. So you know a lot more about the web shops. So can you go into that and do a bit of detail without going into any geek speak, please? No geek.
Well, most of the web shops at, you know, this with bands that are smaller are going to offer like some sort of print on demand, which is usually set up through somewhere like Printful, which integrates with your website. And really, your website and your shop should be the same thing, unless you're using something like Big Cartel or Bandcamp, which you can link out to from your website. But having your own native shop on your website, two main platforms that we use, one's Shopify, one is WooCommerce. So, and they're both really user-friendly, really simple, easy to integrate with the print-on-demand services. And then you can also add in your own like on-hand merch if you have something that you're using. But yeah, those are the main platforms that we use. They each have their own different costs. They each have their own licensing, their own fees, all that kind of stuff. But the beauty of both of those is you can have, like I said, your website and your web shop on the same platform. So you can have your bio, your band images, your videos, basically a really nice looking, robust EPK type website that is also shoppable on both of those platforms.
Which would be extremely useful for a band to have, and then that way they don't have to have two different sites.
Exactly. And I mean, at some point in time, bands will probably reach a size where they need to get a, you know, fulfillment option, which most fulfillment options, if you do grow, do integrate again with Shopify and WooCommerce fairly easily. Yep.
Okay, so then the next thing we need to cover for our services, I believe, let me just take a look. I had it right in front of me and then I accidentally switched off. We have playlist pitching. So playlist pitching is something that Gaia has just started out doing. It's a brand new service. We really haven't done much of it too much to date. But basically what's going to be happening is Gaia is going to be going through, pitching your songs to playlists and doing what she can to basically to get you onto as many playlists as possible. So what did I want to go over in regards to that? So basically what happens is if you do that, you need to have a song on Spotify, obviously. I actually had someone come to me the other day and say, hey, I don't want to put my song on Spotify, but can I pitch it to playlists? Can you believe that?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the other day. It was a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. But anyways, you do need to have the song on Spotify. And so basically that's per month we do that. We don't do that like on a continuous basis. And that's totally done by Gaia. So then the next thing we got, we have one-off calls. I forgot about the one-off calls. So if you don't want to buy coaching and you just want consulting and you just want to get a one-off call, we can do that. It's 1 hour. You also get an actionable PDF, and you get the recording of the call. We actually had someone do that not that long ago who ended up getting a grant as a result of doing the call with us. Yes. So what else do we got here? So management we talked about. We have the marketing tune-up. Do you remember what the marketing tune-up is, Corey?
Isn't that the new thing that we're doing?
That's the new thing, but I'm going to go over here. So basically, we got a marketing tune-up, which is basically offered by Holly and Gaia. So you get a web shop, which is what Corey was just talking about. And then you get your social media profiles fully optimized. And that includes your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So when I say optimized, that means like the about section's all set up properly. You have all your links properly in there. You got all your banners. You got everything looking nice and sharp. And then after that, you get your Bandcamp store fully optimized. So it looks good. You got all the product descriptions in there and the whole 9 yards. And then a landing page is designed and set up for you to collect emails. And that's all of it for the marketing tune-up. So the thing with that is that if you want to do something like that, you do need to have music, obviously. And you obviously need to also make sure that you actually have some sort of product that you can sell. Because if you do a web shop without any products, there's just no point. Do you want to kind of go over that really quickly, what you would need in order to have a web shop work for you, Corey? Because that is a...
I mean, you don't have to have products on hand, but you do have to have artwork that can then be put print on demand through one of the systems that we use to, build out your web shop. So really you just need high quality artwork that we can then use to add to your merch. So, I mean, for shirts, mugs, all that kind of stuff, you can set up a web shop without actually having the physical merchandise on hand, as long as you're doing print on demand and you have really high quality artwork.
Yeah. So just to clarify on that. So when you get a web shop done, you do not have to have anything on hand, period. Okay.
As long as you're doing print on demand, no. I mean, obviously there are other ways to go about this. You could do a web shop where you set up all of your merchandise as a pre-order and then order the merch when the pre-order period is over. I mean, that's a bit more cumbersome and not nearly as fast as having it all print on demand, but you can do that. But yeah, it's mostly just having the quality artwork that you can then use to build out the merch. So
when you say quality artwork, you just mean high res artwork, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. High res and also like eye catching. I mean, you can have a high res image of nothing but a black X, but I mean, it's not really going to catch anybody's eye.
But you could have like a logo or something like that, I guess is what I mean.
A logo, your CD artwork or whatever, that your album art, that kind of stuff. A logo is easily the easiest way to get going. Mm-hmm. And most of it can be adapted to a bunch of different types of merch rather than just, a shirt.
Yeah, so you can get based almost anything that you want print on demand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now next thing that we got on the lineup here is that we also have, in addition to all this, you can get the the marketing tune-up. We are going to be selling the different parts separate as well. So if somebody just wants to get their socials optimized, or they want to get their Bandcamp store fully optimized, or a landing page designed, we can do that too. But unless you already have MailChimp, it is going to cost you to host your own web page. Like you can get lead pages, for example. What else is there? There's lead pages. I'm going blank. There's more.
Lead pages, MailChimp does their own. Yeah. Honestly, I think it would be better to at least have a website set up for this kind of stuff, so you can create your own landing pages whenever you want, and they're branded at your own URL. Like skipping really any of these steps, I mean, it doesn't do that great for you. You're going to see subpar results the more steps you skip.
Yeah. Oh, this is the next part I wanted to mention, is that nowadays it would actually be smart, before contacting us about your PR campaign, is to get a lot of this stuff set up before that. Because if you had your web shop already set up, if you had your all your marketing stuff set up in advance, you're actually going to be in a better position to have your PR campaign run. One thing we haven't talked about yet too, I want to circle back to something else, but we haven't talked about the ad service as well, where you run the ads. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's pretty much just me setting up your ads, identifying your audience, and continually monitoring your ads and tweaking your audience so that they continue to perform at the best level. My favorite form of ads is YouTube ads. I feel like you get the most bang for your buck that way. And what I usually do is I start with a fairly broad audience, and then I continually narrow it down until I'm getting you the most performance for the least amount of money, pretty much is what it is. And then, but I will say, with the caveat of the whole ads thing, ads should be the absolute last thing you are spending money on. You should have everything else done before you start throwing money into ads, or your ads are not going to work.
And when you say everything else done, you mean the web shop, you mean the video, if you have a video, or the...
You should have your music, quite obviously. You should have videos that are decent. You should have your socials all set up. You should have your website. You should have your web shop. You should have every single piece set up prior to investing in ads. Otherwise, you're just going to be throwing money down the drain.
And I do believe, unless I'm mistaken, because Corey is the CEO and makes all the decisions, but I guess I'm going to frame this as a question versus as a statement. We are not planning on accepting people for the advertising unless they have everything set up prior, correct, CEO?
Yeah, because in the end, I don't want to just take people's money, because that's what I would be doing. And you also have to be able to afford a proper budget. There's some people out there that will say, oh, you can run a Spotify ad for $2 a day. First of all, that's a lie. It's a minimum of $250 to set up any kind of an ad, period. You can't sit there and run multiple ads and say that, oh, it all adds up to $250. No, it's $250 per ad. And you have to be able to, you just have to be able to afford a decent budget for your ads. So really, you should wait to do ads until you're actually already making a little bit of money from your music or your merch before you even start.
And you like to do, and I also want to point out, you prefer to do YouTube ads where possible.
Yes, I prefer to do YouTube ads where possible. Spotify is extremely expensive, and the cost per acquisition tends to be higher from my perspective than on YouTube. And the Google platform is really robust. I can create audiences based on pretty much anything from, oh, I want this ad to show only on Slipknot's channel, for example. I can do that. Wow. Or I want this ad to only show to, this country between these times on this day. I can narrow it down to being the most precise audience possible. And it's not nearly as precise with Spotify Facebook. You can get that precise, but Facebook is kind of dying a slow and painful death, which is why I tend to favor YouTube. Okay.
So if someone does want to run Facebook ads, are we going to do that? We haven't discussed that.
I would run them, but I would run them with the caveat that you're probably not going to see as good of a performance. And you do have to have everything set up properly. You have to have the proper assets to do a Facebook ad. So when you're doing an ad, you need, like a Facebook ad, you need a solid 15 to 30 second clip of your video, probably more than one, because every ad that you run should be ran A/B tested to see which one works best. And so you have to be able to deliver the things necessary to create the ad. I mean, I can whittle your video down to a nice 30-second clip, but I mean, that's going into a video editing service, and it's really just better if you guys supply what you want.
Okay, so last thing about ads before we move on to the next thing that we're doing. So out of all the platforms, you would prefer that people do just YouTube out of anything if they come to us and they have everything set up, correct?
YouTube for the budgets that we're working with, yes. I mean, there are other ways to do ads, but they're not cheap. Okay. And they're typically better for bigger bands.
Okay, so what would you suggest someone be looking at in terms of a budget if they come to us to run ads then? for a month?
Minimum of $5 a day.
$5 a day?
Minimum. Because
So
what
that,
you want is your ad to show to enough people to be able to gauge how your audience is working. Yes, you can run ads for less than that. I think Facebook is minimum of $1 a day,
something
and
like that.
Google, like you can run ads for less than that, but you're not going to get the required audience insights to really fine tune your ads to where they're performing at their best level.
Okay, so about $150 a month, and then we charge, I think it's $250 a month for you to run the ads itself. So what should someone expect? Usually, I know it's advertising, and you can't make any guarantees, obviously. What should someone usually expect with advertising if they did it with us, as a general rule?
It depends on the type of ad that I set up and the goals, like the call to action and everything like that. But one of my favorite types of ads, I do an in-stream video ad, which is where it pops up either at the beginning or the end of a video that, you know, like before either the video starts or at the end of another video.
Yeah.
And I usually get those at, you know, over 60% view rate. So 60% of the people who show up to watch the ad around to watch the ad for a minimum of my usual average is about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So they're not just sticking around for 6 seconds and it counts. No, they're sticking around for at least 2 minutes and 30 seconds on average.
Nice.
And about 1 to 2 cents per view.
That's pretty good. Okay, so now I think we've gone over all of our services, unless I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that's it. But honestly, probably we'll add something like tomorrow.
Probably.
We haven't to do that.
We do. So now let's talk about the type of clients that we want to work with and the ones we don't want to work with. So first of all, I think, is there any genres, CEO, that you would say that we wouldn't want to touch other than obviously non-rock people?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to be into like anything that's super racist.
Well, yeah, genre. That's racism isn't a genre.
Well, actually, NSBM is a genre and is racist. Thank you very much.
Sorry, okay, I wasn't thinking about that. Fine, CEO. So, is there a genre though that you think that?
I like black metal as long as it's not that kind. I like death metal. I like folk metal, industrial. I mean, there's really not a type of metal that I'm like, I don't like this, unless it comes to something that's just super low quality.
Yeah, the quality has to be high, I think. Well, we're going to go over that on the types of people that we want. I'm just kind of going over right now what we don't want. So it doesn't really matter the genre unless we just don't like it. That would be the main thing. And it's got to be some form, at least hard rock, I would say, because we can't work a pop album at this point. We can't.
No, we don't have the contacts to work a pop album.
Yep.
So,
although at the same time, we do have the contacts. We could do something like dark folk, because like I did the Caridi album and that went well with the metal audience because that was almost that crosses.
So we can't work like a Britney Spears kind of pop album, but we probably could do something along the lines of poppy, where it's kind of got a crossover feel to it.
Or like, I forget the name. I think the band's name is Gold or something like that. That type of style where it kind of goes in almost into hard rock, but and metal, but it's not. Or Ulver or something like that, where it's not, but it has the background or something. So that we couldn't do. So now you brought up racism. Obviously, we don't want to touch as a genre. What other things do we not want to touch, Corey?
Well, that's your department. You've got more restrictions than I do.
Well, I want to hear your restrictions first.
Well, just shitty music is my main restriction.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, for me, the main thing is like I don't really want to get too many political bands, because if you get too many political stuff, then you just start to create problems. I don't like either one way or the other.
It depends on the political.
It does.
Like if Hyro the Hero wanted to hire us, I'd do that.
I don't know much about him, but I think you're right. I think you're right on that. But
it depends on the level of political.
Yeah.
And honestly, it depends on whether the politics come off as a gimmick versus something genuine.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not necessarily into the politics of Rage Against the Machine, but I'd probably work with them. Probably, but would you?
I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me hated.
Oh, okay, then never mind right now. Okay, well, go ahead.
Rage Against the Machine fan.
Well, I'm not either, but but we also know at the same time enough people like the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm pretty sure we probably do. I don't think we would turn down a Rage Against the Machine opportunity. Do you?
I mean, if multimillionaires are coming to work with us, then obviously we're doing something really, really right.
Exactly.
So,
So if Tom Morello is listening, we might work with you if you decide to work with us. What other restrictions we have? I don't like doing drug bans. I don't like doing overt drug bans as a general rule.
it just gets boring. All the like, oh, look at me, I'm a stoner band.
But it's also, but the other thing too that I don't like about it, neither one of us are stoners, so it just seems fucking weird. Do you really want to be promoting the heroin ban?
It is weird. I said, considering I'm straight edge, it is weird.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, do you really want to be promoting the legalized heroin ban? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
I
don't know anymore.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm out on that one. I don't know what else we got that are restrictions. Obviously, you know, if you're lyrically you're of questionable content, we're probably not going to really want to work with you. But again, there is a limit on that. What would you think about working with a Steel Panther type band, out of curiosity?
Oh my God, I would honestly love that because they're freaking hilarious. It's questionable content, but it's funny.
I agree.
And I appreciate people who don't take themselves too damn seriously.
Okay, cool. So if you're still
and the same caveat, like when it comes to questionable material and lyrics, I wouldn't turn down Cannibal Corpse.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, Machiavel's lyrics are pretty questionable. So I mean, it really depends on the type of questionableness.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I say questionable, I think I'm more going like something that's more like racist or drug oriented, usually as a general rule for myself. I mean, other than that, I don't really have that many restrictions, I don't think. But anyways, or, you know, if someone was like, I mean, even Killing Babies lyrics, I mean, Machiavel's got that, don't they?
No. I mean, well, one of their songs is about a murderer who murders children.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They're advocating for it.
No, of course not. There's a big, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Because I was about to say, maybe if it was about killing babies, and I went, wait a minute, no, we have a band that does that. So it should be fine.
To be clear, they do not kill babies. Just no, so you know.
Yeah. They're talking
about it. They advocate for that. Word this better, Curtis.
No, but they're singing about it is what I'm meaning. They are singing about it.
True. They are saying, you're talking about a child murderer, but they're again not advocating for child murder.
Agreed. So what else?
I don't like this podcast anymore.
You what?
Said I don't like this podcast anymore. This is taking a weird turn.
No, but I mean, okay. So other than that, it's usually personality based, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Like if you're a douche, I'm not going to work with you. It's pretty simple.
Define douche, because a lot of people are douches, but they're workable douches.
Anybody who's blatantly disrespectful, who can't communicate well, who blows you off, who ghosts you, who talks down to you, who acts like they're, you know, king shit when they're really not. Like, have some humility, people. And I mean, because like none of us are king shit.
No, nobody. Not a single person.
And so just be a decent person, talk to people respectfully, and I mean, communicate well.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say would be red flags for clients that we don't want to take? And then we can talk about a few good clients before we wrap up.
Poor communication is going to be the big one, where it's like you ask them a question and they send back one word and it's not even answering the question that you asked.
I hate that.
If you ask them to do interviews, do they take 20 years to do them, or they do them half-assed? Those kind of like the lazy kind of clients are going to be my biggest red flag, where they just won't do anything for themselves. Where they have this kind of attitude of, can't you just do that for me?
Yeah, I hate that so much. Okay. I think the other thing too, for me personally, is it comes down to really the communication level. Like if the person is not responding to emails in a timely fashion, or they don't ever talk back about anything, they just don't answer up. And especially the thing with the interviews too. So let's go over a couple traits of some good type clients, and then we can wrap up. So what do you think would be some good traits of people that we want to work with?
People who are fast to communicate. So the flip side of what you just said. People who are genuinely respectful when they talk to you, because you can always tell when somebody's talking down to you. Uh, and people who act on what they say they're going to do or act on what we say they should be working on. So like say if we, oh, you need to post more and they're still only posting once a week, if that, then that's a red flag. Or if we say you need to post more and they're like, okay, cool, bam. And they just start churning out posts, even if it's filler type content, like sharing an article and saying thank you to the publication, that kind of, as long as they're trying, even if it's not perfect, you can genuinely see the effort that they're putting in. Because really nobody's going to care more about your band than you do. And nobody's going to do it all for you. Not us, not anybody. Even if you got signed to a label tomorrow, you would still have a shitload of work you have to do yourself. So the people that recognize effort is required and not optional is like the best clients.
Yeah, the diva attitude is something that we do not really like. And sometimes you don't find that out about that until you've been working with them for a couple of weeks. But if we spot it right off the bat, we generally will not want to work with a person that comes the attitude that, they should just get everything. Like one red flag for me is if an independent band comes to us and I say, what are you looking for? And they start telling me Stereo Gum, Pitchfork, Decibel, and they're releasing their debut EP. I just go, nope, don't want anything to do with you. And the other thing too is mainly the willingness to work hard, I think is the main thing, and wanting to have their band do well and not just be like, it'd be nice to like just release the album, drop it tomorrow, and then, maybe some people listen to it. You want to have people that actually have the goal to like be listened to, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. We think it's time to wrap up. Do you have any final words, Corey?
No, I am good on my end.
Cool. Well, I think that we are going to do really, really well with this C squared. I think with the amount of services that we have, I think we are going to stand out. I think probably within the next year, we're going to end up being one of the top companies. So with that.
Lofty goals, Curtis. Lofty goals.
It's a good goal. Anyways, party on, Corey.
Party on, Curtis.